there are 3 distinct stages on the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah.
On this one, the Camino Francés anyway.
Yeah.
There's the body stage, which is the first third. There's the mind stage, which is the second third. And then there's the spirit stage, which is the last third.
Yeah. You broke down those 3 phases of the Camino. I want to ask a question in regards to each phase. And I guess phase 1 is, what did you learn about your body in that first phase?
Oh, how little I looked after it and cared for it. I took it for granted. I think the biggest thing was I thought that because my mind said I needed to get to this city by this time, my body would cooperate. It did to a degree. In the last 5 or 6 Ks is going into Pamplona. Yeah. It really freaked out. My knee, I thought it was just general wear and tear until I sat down, rested, and then I stood up. I'm like, something's not right. Like everything kind of froze up, pins and needles, and my knee, actually, even to this day, hasn't really fully recovered.
Yeah.
No major injuries, but I pushed myself too much.
Yeah.
And I realized I totally neglected the fact I didn't eat breakfast, or no, I had a bad breakfast. It was just a croissant and coffee. Coffee dehydrates you. I learned all this stuff on the Camino.
Yeah.
Croissant has nearly no nutrients in it for a day's walk, especially I was pushing myself to walk 20 Ks in 5 hours. It was, and from that day I started asking wisdom figures around on the Camino. People who have done it before, like, what should I eat? What should I drink? How much rest do I need? I should warm up, And why do we need these walking poles? What exactly do they do? I started honoring my body a little bit more. So that's one. Yeah. Well,
I mean, in preparation for this conversation, I had a coffee and I had no breakfast. So I think
I just had a croissant. No kidding. With this parishioner,
I was saying. That's amazing. Yeah,
that's so funny. It's the Lord.
That second phase, then you move past the body. Now you realize, okay, cool. I have to what we've been given. Our physical body needs to be looked after, and the mind. And I can imagine that's like the way you're describing it is like you enter this straight plane, and suddenly like the beauty that can often that you can honor, but there can also be a distraction from the mind. Now it's like you've got nothing almost to look at. I imagine, I've never done the Camino, so I think it's important to know, but I'm imagining that suddenly it all plateaus out and then now you've got nothing.
At least in autumn. I think maybe in summer it's more pretty, I think. More blooming, things are blooming, but definitely in autumn when I went, it was just flat. And in that flatness, what did you learn about your mind then in that second phase? Well, honestly, the first thing is that I was somehow a lot more equipped and looking forward to the second stage than most of the pilgrims. I think this is where I owe so much of my growth to being a part of the Missionaries of God's Love, and learning to sit in your own mess, but also sit in the presence of God and to live with detachment from a lot of good things in the world. So I found that actually a very spiritual time for me. And it was during the second phase where a lot of the really important connections and friendships and mentoring happened, which is, this is probably another part of your interview, but that's when the calling of the shepherd's heart, which is now something I carry on today, very intentionally. That's when I realized the Lord was calling me, because many people, doesn't matter which part of the world you're from, don't know how to be alone with themselves, let alone with God. And it was about being able to journey with people in that time. So I guess I learned that, to answer your question, I was very well equipped to walk a wilderness. But secondly, that I was also called and found it very life-giving to walk with others in that wilderness space.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I think when you're surrounded by other people in that space and everyone's going through it differently, but you're all walking it together, how do you manage that communal aspect of that journey?
It's not actually as communal. You can walk alone. In fact, you can be walking with a group of people and just say, go on. I'll just take some time off. People are so good on the Camino. You can have as much me time, alone time, and as much communal time as needed. People are very respectful of that. Even your close friends, you're like, yep, he just wants dinner by himself tonight. So I tended to start the morning the same way. I would start myself, like I'd wake up earlier than others so I can get some quiet time, and nothing like walking the Camino at dawn. Amazing. It's so holy, so sacred. And then, but because of my knee that I bunged up back in Pamplona, I'm very slow, so everyone would catch up anyway. And yeah, so, but by then I already had my quality time with the Lord.
Yeah.
And so there'd be a lot of companionship. And I think, and this is where it's all mysterious, right? Like the fact that I pushed myself so bad and stuffed up my knee was precisely what was necessary for me to be slow enough for others to catch up with me. Because otherwise I'd be a quick walker.
Yeah.
Just naturally I'm a brisk walker.
Yeah, I'm a slow walker. So you would have been so annoyed by me.
We would have been buddies. Maybe my 4 or 5 of my closest companions on the Camino were also slow.
Yeah.
But we could connect because I was slow.
And then on that third and final phase of the Camino that you described, like the spirit, because that's coming to the end pretty much, like that last phase. I guess my question for you then is like, how had you changed from day one when you were just starting and embarking on the pilgrimage, and who were you at the end, having come through those 3 different phases?
Yeah. Certainly that the call of the shepherd's heart, I think, would be a really important. So I walked, when I began the Camino, I wasn't sure exactly how I was being called in the church to live out my vocation. And through a lot of the interactions and also noticing what really gave me life, I realized that the deepest call upon my life was that of a shepherd. Not just in terms of journeying with people, which I was sort of already doing in spiritual direction, but being intentional about reaching those who are most unchurched and realizing that it's those that most of the church is actually outside the church.
Yeah.
Everyone who walks the Camino is a seeker. You know, even the ones I initially judged as being, they're just there for the holiday, the tourist thing, exercise, photography. If you persevere and push through those 2 earlier stages and you get to the spirit stage, everyone's seeking, because life is a pilgrimage and we're all yearning. Our hearts are restless with just the good things of this world, as good as they are. So I guess what happened was my heart started to break as well for those who had never heard the gospel and who weren't lucky enough to go on a Camino in some ways. Many people who are just resigned to life without knowing Christ. And I think that call, that conviction that I must be at that shepherd, that bridge. It's a whole other thing that happened on the Camino. The bridge, being a bridge. Anyway. Yeah. Like the good shepherd goes after the lost, goes after the one that's strayed, the most wounded, you know. And I think that's something that I always hold dear to my heart, as a real deeper calling upon my life. Talk to us. You mentioned the bridge, and so I'm going to give you a chance to kind of delve into that a little bit. Talk to me about that bridge theme that you it was I'm trying to remember all the details now. It was Santo Domingo, which I'm assuming means Saint Dominic. It's one of the names of one of the towns, and I remember this is where God can speak to you through anything. But there was this moment, by that stage, it was halfway through the Camino, I was very receptive already to God's still small voice. There was one little story where this Santo Domingo, the reason why this town was built there and named after him was Saint Dominic. This is not the Dominic, not the famous one. The Dominic is another, a lesser known Dominic. He built a bridge to help pilgrims cross a river. Otherwise they'd have to kind of ford it in a very dangerous way, and donkeys would get lost and swept away and stuff. So he built this bridge. Now I was struck by that. I'm like, I don't know why, I was so moved by that. But it's like, bro, it's just a bridge, you know? But it was like, no, it was not just a bridge. It's the symbol of being able to create a way for those who are unable or unwilling or afraid of crossing from one side to the other. And then this profound realization, I've been doing that anyway. Like, I've always been a bit of a bridge builder without trying to be. I am Chinese Australian, so there's always that natural kind of bridge both worlds in terms of culture, East and West. You know, my dad's very heavily kind of enriched by Eastern, even though he's Catholic, by Eastern philosophy and politics and worldviews, spirituality, and I can synthesize that with my very thorough and deep Catholic upbringing as well. The Myth Pilgrim is bridging culture. It's bridging church and culture. It's being able to find a way to help people cross a chasm that they otherwise think is not crossable or don't even see. So it was just realizing that I'm a bridge builder, and that's what I want to be doing. You know, whatever the rivers are in people's lives that they feel aren't crossable.
Yeah, and it feels like, you know, having known you now for a little bit, like you're crossing a bridge of your own into a new phase of life, a new space, especially post Camino. Do you want to talk a little bit about Shepherd's Heart, what you'll be doing with that, your own spiritual direction practice, that stuff now, I guess, moving forward?
Yeah. So to honor the calling of the Camino, I decided to, I started, essentially it's a small business, but I don't like to call it a business because it makes it sound businessy. It's more of an initiative or an outreach called Shepherd's Heart, which it offers a couple of things. Definitely spiritual direction, and now I'm being trained as a life coach. So that one-on-one journey and companionship, like I was doing along the Camino, with a special intention to actually in time reach those outside the church. And already there's a couple of clients from Shepherd's Heart that are not from church spaces, which is very encouraging for me and very life-giving. But at the moment it's also offering resources, like I've already, for St. Benedict's, I've already created like a series of introduction flyers to the Catholic faith targeted for new people, for newcomers, because I've been doing RCIA and helping out with Alpha and things like that, and journeying with people on the thresholds of faith for so long that I felt like I had the insight to be able to create resources that can welcome them, those who are not churched into the faith. So they're in display at the moment in our foyer, but because other churches started taking them on and having interest, I thought this could be a real natural way in which I can honor the Shepherd's Heart, again, to reach out to those who are outside the fold, the sheepfold. So at the moment I've expanded the range to about 13 different flyers and booklets and things, all trying to target those who are outside the church, who just wander in for the first time. So, but the idea is it's still the same mission field, you know, to actually reach those who otherwise wouldn't step into a church or engage with their faith. So that's very naturally an expression of the Shepherd's Heart, because I've got graphic design background skills as well as I love
Sell
writing.
Sell yourself, Lawrence.
What else can I
cut a promo real quick? Look down that. No, and I think it's amazing. I've seen some of, I don't know how they've changed over time, but you shared with me some of the flyers and the booklets and stuff, and I mean it all looks good and high quality, and obviously knowing your knowledge and background in the faith as well, you know, all that stuff I think will translate super nicely. Look, I'm sure we can hang out and talk a lot, and I'm sure we will in the future, but I'd love to leave people with a couple of thoughts and a couple of like points that they could action for themselves. You talked about life being a pilgrimage, and they don't necessarily have to go all the way to France to kind of like undertake a pilgrimage. For people that are feeling called to pilgrimage of some sort, what advice would you have to them for them to start on that process?
Yeah, certainly the St. Catherine of Siena invitation of really in prayer, however prayer looks like in your context, to ask and to seek the question of who am I, Lord, and who are you, I think is a really, really good start, preparation. There's a quote that I made up that I started telling all the pilgrims on the Camino, and them not knowing I made it up, which actually helped a lot of people, and that's: tourists travel far and wide, pilgrims travel deep inside. So even just what that looks like in this lifetime, because we can often even live day-to-day life, week to week, year to year, with a tourist mindset of, if this life is all there is, then you got to see everything, try everything, do everything new, neo worship, you know, worship of the new. Whereas the real joy and satisfaction and bread of life is the inner journey, interior journey, from which the outer world can help us to get in touch with. But it's also just, it's just a sacrament. The outer world is just a sacrament, small s, of God's love, encountering God's love, and entering into His will, really. So, so definitely seeing if you can approach life with a pilgrim mindset rather than tourist mindset. And just even really practically is if you really do feel the call of the Lord to go on a physical pilgrimage, know that there will be a sacrifice and there will always be a cost, but it's absolutely worth it, especially if it's a stirring on your heart you can't get rid of. There won't be another better opportunity to, it's like going on an extended retreat on steroids, especially if you go with the previous two kind of dispositions. God is generous. He has called you and he will speak. And he will speak, absolutely. It's not a matter of if and what, or if I say the right prayers. It's like he is already speaking. Maybe we need to go on a pilgrimage to actually recognize how he's already spoken when we're cleared from the expectations and distractions of the world. So,
And I mean, you mentioned sacrificing cost a couple of times now in this conversation, and I'm guessing that is not just monetary cost and monetary sacrifice. What was that sacrifice for you? Obviously sharing what you're comfortable sharing, but giving people a little bit of insight into like the sacrifice that you're talking about, like that, the reality of that for people if they were to go on a pilgrimage, like as invested and as I'm going to say locked in, but like obviously like not, it's not the right language for that. But almost as committed as you were.
Time would be a big one. Time is precious, right? Like we've got sort of limited time. So being able to put aside time that to the eyes of the world would be very unproductive and inefficient, because you're almost taking time off, but you're not going on a holiday. What are you doing? So being able to sit with the discomfort of being inefficient in the world and being maybe judged for being inefficient. For many people especially who walk the Camino, but they're often at a stage of their life where they recognize one part of their life probably needs to be let go of or die in some stage in order for something new to begin. So there's a sacrifice there. For many people are changing jobs, or they're at that midlife transitional stage, or want to end a relationship, or recovering from a broken relationship. So it's being able to symbolize that almost as that rock that you're carrying, and go, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make, but it's one that will give me life. I think that would be a very helpful and a mature way to approach sacrifice.
You've inspired me.
Are you gonna walk the Camino?
I would actually love to. I joked about. It's been a really rich episode, really heavy. But like, I was gonna lighten it a bit. But be like, I don't love. Not that I don't love walking. I walk, but like I don't love like the idea of hiking. Like I grew up in Singapore. Like we didn't do like outdoorsy stuff. So it's been like since living in Australia, like loving to love the outdoors and that kind of thing. I think I've come a long way. But like when you were saying walking like 30 odd kilometers a day, I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds like intense. But I've been inspired because I think that I like the idea of removing yourself from the distractions of kind of like the world, and to be able to just have like a dedicated time to really like go inside. I think that's something that listening to you talk about it, even for however long we've been talking about, this short glimpse into that, I think has been really inspiring. So thank you for taking the time to share all that, and I hope that other people, because like I said, people had quite a few questions and responses around the Q&A episode that we did around pilgrimages, so I think it's on people's hearts and minds, and I'm sure this testimony will be incredibly powerful. So as a thank you for taking the time, every single guest on this show gets a gift. So this is for you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
It's just a little, you can open it now. Yeah, you can open it now. It's a St. Michael the Archangel one decade rosary.
Gorgeous,
like a pocket rosary.
Yeah.
So that's for you.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming on. And
pleasure. Yeah.
And in classic fashion, I always ask the same question to every single guest. This could be informed by your pilgrimage. The patron saint for your interior life and the patron saint for your exterior life, to close out the show.
Wow. Can it be the same person?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah. So who is my patron saint for my interior life and exterior life? Okay, Saint Teresa of Lisieux is definitely one of them. I'm trying to work out which one it is. And I think she'd be interior life. Definitely. No, I don't have the answer. Okay. It's definitely Saint Teresa's interior life.
Yeah.
Because of what she taught me about childlikeness, humility, but also, again, that attitude of tenacity and boldness. She embodied both. And she's not only taught me, but she's very tangibly shown up in my life.
Yeah.
And she's a powerful, powerful intercessor. So, she shows up and you know about it.
Yeah.
Externally, I've got so many. Mother Mary, certainly, but she's like my everything. But I would say St. John Paul II. Because he has been the model and, again, the intercessor for my, my experience of mission, or my calling is to evangelize the culture. And that's something he coined, evangelization of culture. So how I live out my exterior life and what I do with my time is shaped largely by his insights. Theology of the body is another big one, So I would say. Yeah.
Wonderful. All great saints. And I actually just had a thought, because this will come out before ACYF, and we have a group of young people that are kind of gearing up for it. A message to them. You talk about living in the culture as a Christian man, but also, for them, they're about to embark on a pilgrimage in a sense to this festival, where they'll meet other like-minded Christians and Catholics. But I can also imagine, on some level, they might feel a little bit uncomfortable living out their faith in such a public way, to talk about their faith in such a public way, to tell their friends that they'll be going to this in such a public way. A message to them, a message of encouragement, maybe.
Wow. Well, I have little doubt that they will receive a lot of messages around God's love, and I think that's so important at the foundation of our faith. So I won't just repeat that.
Yeah.
What I will say also, or add to that, is, dear young people going to ACYF, God takes the initiative. It's not a matter of you being able to be perfect or good enough for him or say the right prayers. He's already active and moving in your life right now. It's when you're at ACYF, it's just about creating space for him to come in. He's knocking already. He can't not. He is the active one in the spiritual life. So lest there, just in case, lest, that's such an ancient word, just in case there's any of you who are feeling like, gosh, what if nothing happens, or what if I don't feel God or anything? It's just a matter of recognizing how he has shown up and how he will show up. That's the extent of his love for you. It doesn't rely on you being anything. So go with a open, humble, bold expectation of that. And that you are part of something bigger than yourself. You're part of God's story, and you literally, I mean this in the best possible way, have no idea what your life can become until you meet Christ. Yeah.
Lawrence, thank you for taking the time.
You're so welcome. This has been a privilege.